Today's guest is a coach, speaker, author, and amazing father of 3. For the past 15 plus years, he has worked with the highest performing basketball players on the planet, including NBA superstar Kevin Durant. He currently travels the entire world right now, helping teach organizations how to utilize the same tools in business that elite athletes use to perform at a world-class level. And he is my dear friend, the amazing Stein Jr.
Hello, hello.
Thank you so much for flying all the way here and then getting this shitty weather.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this weather in LA, but hey.
I'm so excited that you're finally here. We met a couple years ago.
2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I got to hear you speak, and there's so much of what you said stuck with me. And shortly after that, you wrote a book, and you're traveling the world, teaching everywhere, and I'm just like so excited that you're finally here and get to share.
Well, I appreciate
some
it.
of your wisdom with.
2.5 years went by quick.
It went like that.
Because I remember that vividly, the retreat, that whole experience.
I know.
And it was
so cool. And
yeah.
how much you have done so much in the last 2.5 years. It's crazy.
Well, that was really the jumping off point, which is kind of exciting to look back.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was really just the beginning of everything. So that's probably part of the reason why it feels like it's gone by so quick.
Yeah.
Because it has. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
But that was such a transformational experience, what we did there. And it was the perfect kind of jumping off point for me to get everything going.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So where did all of this start for you? Obviously, you were an athlete. You played basketball as a kid, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
basketball was my first identifiable passion. I fell in love with the game at probably 5 or 6 years old. And I just turned 43 a couple weeks ago, and basketball is still a major pillar in my life. So it's kind of neat that the game has been with me my entire life. And that's anytime I talk to folks, whether they're young or old, I tell them they need to find what they're really passionate about and find what they love, and then find where those two things intersect, and that's what you should be doing. That's when you're going to find your purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful basketball has been that for me.
Yeah. And I can relate. As a ballerina, I feel like I haven't read your book yet, but I know so much of your philosophy, just listening to you speak and following you on social media. It seems like the principles are the foundation for everything in your life. And that's what it seems like you're sharing with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that sport transcends into business, but all of these things go into just us being human beings. I mean, this stuff has helped me as a father. It's helped me in relationships. It's helped me in everything that I've done. So, the book was written more for both coaches and players and executives and entrepreneurs. But again, these things, they make you a better mother. They make me a better father.
Yeah. Well, I remember when you spoke, one of the stories that I want you to share, actually, because it was so profound. And I think it's so important at this point in the way that the world is. We're both parents, and I feel like sometimes with social media is that people are just jumping to 100 and they're forgetting all the component parts that it takes to actually get there. And I think you, with your Kobe Bryant story, or if you have another story that you want to share, that story, I've told it to Kaleo and I've shared it with so many people. It's so profound because I think, in my head at least, I think that these athletes are doing, slam dunks all the time or doing something crazy all the time, when really they do
the basics.
The basics.
And they fall in love with the basics. But as you know, that's not easy to do. It's basic, but it's not easy. And the reason it's not easy is because the basics are usually boring.
Yeah.
And they're mundane.
Yes.
And they're monotonous. But when you can fall in love with the boring and the mundane and the monotonous, you can lay that foundation to do anything else, at the highest level. I mean, when you really break anything down, whether it's parenting, whether it's business, whether it's basketball, it's very basic what you need to do to be successful. But the basics are never easy. And especially with social media, we always want to chase what's hot and flashy and sexy.
Right.
We want to go after what's shiny and what's new. And many times that's going to be a pitfall. And we have to learn how to stay with the basics. So, the Kobe story is perfect because we're here in Lyla land, kind of the home that Kobe built. But, I actually had a chance to watch him work out back in 2007. I mean, that's well over a decade now. And I remember he taught me a pivotal lesson. I mean, it changed my life at the time. And I've told this story, I mean, I can't tell you how many times, and it still makes the hairs on my neck stand up because it was that that pivotal. And kind of the fast forward version was I went to watch him work out super early in the morning. I mean, 4 a.m. early in the morning. And I'd heard this urban legend just of how insanely intense his workouts were. And I thought I was going to go see some really flashy, sexy stuff. And he was in there doing the most basic offensive moves, pivoting drills. I mean, he was doing stuff that I had done with middle school age players. Now, I mean, this is Kobe Bryant,
right.
So he's doing everything at an unparalleled level of effort, and he's doing everything with surgical precision. But the stuff he was actually doing was really basic, and I was shocked at that. And later that day at camp, I went up and asked him, I was like, you're the best player in the world. Why are you doing such basic drills? And as serious as can be, but with a very gracious smile, he said, why do you think I'm the best in the world? Because I don't get bored with the basics. And I just remember that like it was like a lightning bolt that hit me and thinking, okay, if the best player in the game of basketball doesn't get bored with the basics, then I certainly have no business getting bored with them. And I find any time in my life when things start to get a little blurry or a little bit out of focus, it's usually because I'm skipping over the basics. And I just have to tighten the screws and refocus the lens and get back to the basic components. Whether it's parenting, whether it's business, or whether it's speaking, the basic principles they'll do you right if you live by them.
You got my mind thinking now about business. I got to go back to the basics. But it's so true. I mean, I think on an athletic level, I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't a basketball player, but I was a ballerina. So I can relate
Absolutely.
with the basics. Like I tell people, like, if you go to a ballet class when you're 7 years old, or you go to the, Joffrey Ballet School, it's the same class.
Yes. I would imagine it's the same movements, it's the same postures, it's the same stretches, it's all of the same stuff.
You do the same stuff. It's just, it looks different, obviously, when you're a professional, but you're literally doing the same moves. And I think, your body obviously has the cell memory, which is going to make you better. But the mental stuff that you go through is a whole nother thing, And yoga's the same way, too. A lot of people get bored with repetitive movement. But I always say it's the same practice every day, but the lesson changes every day.
Yes.
And I love, because I've never really thought to bring it into the business side. And this is what you do now, is like you're traveling and you're sharing all of this wisdom with organizations. So what do you find is the biggest helpful thing that you advise these people?
If we look at business just at a macro level, all businesses solve problems. That's what a business does. You solve a problem for somebody. Mm-hmm. And if you can solve a problem for someone and you can over deliver and value what you take in payment, and you can treat them as if you'd treat someone in your family, so you give unbelievable customer service, regardless of what industry you're in, you're going to be incredibly successful. You solve a problem, you give more in value than you take in payment, and you treat everyone well. You'll be incredibly, now that's very basic, and none of that is easy to do. When I talk to most folks in sales or in leadership, I believe the most basic component is what you're doing a brilliant job of right now. It's listening. But most of our world doesn't listen because everybody wants to talk and everybody wants to show you how smart they are. And even as a professional speaker, it sounds counterintuitive, but listening's my biggest tool because I have to make sure that I'm listening to the client to find out exactly what it is that they want me to do. I need to find out what do they want their people to get out of this talk that I'm going to give, and then I can customize it directly for their needs. But it all comes back to listening, and that is a very basic skill. And I tell folks all the time, if you want to improve any relationship in your life immediately, could be with your significant other, could be with your child, could be with your boss, it doesn't matter. If you want to improve any relationship in your life, just improve the skill of actively listening. You'll create a much deeper connection. Listening is the glue, for all human connection. And it's one that we have to practice. And I know for me, I'm far from a world-class elite listener, but I've gotten better than I have been. And if you and I talk again a year from now, I can promise you that I'll be a better listener then than I am now because I'm focused on it and I realize how important it is. And when you realize something's important and you practice it, then you'll get better.
I agree. I mean, I think just being mindful of it, and it's so interesting because I think you're right. I think if people think that there's an issue, whether it's with parenting or relationship, they immediately go to all these other levels when it could be as simple as, maybe you just didn't hear me right, or maybe, let's listen more. And, that's fascinating.
It's a human need we have. We want to feel that we're heard, and that's, again, why social media has exploded. So now everybody's got a voice and everyone's got a platform. And everybody's doing all the talking and everybody's sharing and everybody's posting, but how many people are really listening to what's going on? And the gold is always in the listening.
this kills me actually when I spend so much time writing a post and nobody reads what I'm saying. I'm like, you guys, come on.
And you can tell by their comments that
you
they
can
didn't
tell by
read.
their comments.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I don't comment unless I actually read what they say, because
Right.
I don't want to be perceived as not understanding, what they're trying to get across. But while you were saying that, it's so interesting because you really live by everything that you say. And
I try to.
You do. You do. You
Well,
do.
I appreciate that.
And through social media, I've told you this before. I mean, we're friends outside of social media, but I love the fact that I get to see what you post on a daily basis, whether it's with work or your kids, and you share all these great little golden nuggets all the time.
Thank you.
And this is actually something that I've always done, but now when I do it, I think of you every single time, and I did it this morning.
Yeah?
Putting the grocery cart back.
Yes. That's it.
It's like the simplest thing, but it goes back to what you're saying, the basics.
It is.
And it's so simple, but I think it's like, some people believe in making their bed in the morning. It's those little things that just kind of like builds.
I don't think I'm going to ever run for political office, but if I do, that will be the crux of my campaign, is making sure people put their shopping carts back.
Yeah.
Because I think when they don't, and I don't mean this because I'm not judging the person, because I've never walked a moment in their shoes or seen the world through their eyes. It's easy for me to make a snap judgment. But leaving your cart out is an act of entitlement, it's an act of laziness, and it's an act of selfishness. Again, I don't know these people, so I would never say this person is selfish or this person is lazy. I would never say that. But it's a behavior that's in harmony with those traits. And, those aren't three of our most attractive traits as human beings, laziness and entitlement and selfishness. So it takes a little bit of extra effort to put something back where you got it from.
I feel so good when I put it back.
Oh, as we all should.
I did it.
But little things end up making a big difference. And if you think that it's okay to leave your shopping cart out, then you might think it's okay to do something else. And then all of a sudden these things start to ramp up. And the next thing you know, you'll see your entire character erode because of things that you could have nipped in the bud when they're little things. And I don't mean the end of the world is coming because people leave their shopping carts out.
No, but it's
not
such
overly
a nice,
dramatic.
It's something that people do on a daily basis.
But yeah,
so
I tell my children all the time, how you do anything is how you do everything. Yes. That if you're not going to put your shopping cart back, why should I believe that you're going to make the right decision when it's a big decision and when it's important and when there's more at stake than just leaving your cart out? So yeah, try to do those little things, but we're human beings, we're fallible, we all make mistakes. Yeah. And the key to self-awareness, I've made mistakes before, plenty. I've made 20 of them today, and we're not even halfway through the day, but the key is having the awareness and going, you know what, I left my shopping cart out today, that probably wasn't the best of me, next time I won't do that. Hey, that's all we can ask.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. And I think, do you feel like, I'm sure you're gonna say yes, but being a parent, you have eyes watching you. So your every move, you think twice, like, okay, I have to do the right thing. What is the right thing? They're watching me. Because so much of being a parent is what you do, not what you say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the modeling's crucial. And it's good because it's an extra built-in level of accountability. Because, as a parent, we love our kids more than anything in the world. And we want to make sure we're doing right by them and we're modeling the behavior that we want to see from them when they're older. So I could sit my 3 kids down on the couch and give them a talk about how important it is to be respectful. Or when we go out to dinner, I can be incredibly respectful to the waiter or waitress. 1, it's the right thing to do, but 2, that's going to show them that, Daddy doesn't just talk about respect, he's respectful to other people. And that's gonna, if I gave them this 30-minute talk and then I go out and I'm rude to a waiter or waitress, that 30-minute talk, it's been undermined. It's over. They're not gonna listen to what I said. They're gonna do what I do. And that's, but it's true in leadership, it's true in coaching, it's not just parenting. If you're the CEO of a company and you tell all of your people, this is what you need to do, everyone here needs to be on time, and then you roll in 3 minutes late, you're not living in harmony. Your beliefs and your behaviors aren't congruent. And anytime beliefs and behaviors aren't in harmony, we've got a problem.
So how would you suggest, like, let's say, somebody is running a company and people do make mistakes and they're, how would you suggest that they go about resolving that?
Well, it's important for people to realize that accountability is, when you hold someone accountable, that's not something you do to them. That's something you do for them. When you hold someone accountable, it's because you care about them. That means I believe in you and I know you're better than what you're showing me right now. And I believe in you so much that I'm going to hold you to a really high standard. And when you don't live up to that, I'm going to tell you. Now, I'm going to tell you with grace and with love and with compassion. I'm not going to talk down to you. I'm going to try to lift you up. But accountability is important. And we know that intuitively as parents. Like, it's not my job to be my kid's friend. I do hope as they get older that I develop a very strong friendship with them.
Right.
But my job is to help model and groom them to be happy, well-adjusted, contributing citizens to this world. And that comes first. And same thing, if you're the leader of a company, you need to demand excellence from your people. You need to live it yourself, but you need to demand that and hold them to that standard. That's the best gift you can give them. Letting people slide is, to me, that's showing them that you don't care about them. And people talk all the time about tough love. It's really not tough love, it's just love. If you love someone, you hold them to a high standard because you want to help empower them to be the best they're capable of.
I think the delivery, though, is so important.
Absolutely.
Like you said, like especially, we keep going back to children, but in coaching, I mean, you can't talk, when you talk down to somebody, I think people immediately get defensive and they don't hear you.
Absolutely.
But the way you said it sounded so empowering, that I care about you and I want to hold you to this, that's a totally different way of delivering the same message.
You talk to them, not at them. And from an accountability standpoint, if we're looking at a business, average businesses have vertical accountability. I'm in charge, you report to me, I tell you. Great organizations have horizontal accountability. We're teammates, and we're at the same level on the org chart, but I'm going to hold you accountable because I care about you and I care about our company. And vertical as well, which means I might be the CEO, you might be the building service person, you might be the lowest person on the org chart, but you still feel comfortable holding me accountable and vice versa. When you can create that type of atmosphere, then you've got something special. And it always goes back to, I'm holding you accountable because I care about you and I care about us. And that's what's most important. It's not personal. It's not through spite. I'm not trying to catch you. We want what's best for the group. Yeah. And when you can hold people accountable under those terms, then special things happen.
We're all in this together.
Yes.
That's what I always say.
Absolutely,
Not only
we are.
in companies, but like the entire world. I'm like, come on, guys, we're a team.
Absolutely.
Let's do this together.
Help our fellow human beings out.
Yeah, it's so true. And on a personal level, obviously you're a father and you have twin boys.
I do.
How old are they now?
Boys will be 9 in March.
You'll be 9.
Yeah.
And your daughter?
Yeah, she'll be 7 in June.
7, yeah.
Yeah.
So
they're getting up there.
You have your hands full.
Do have my hands full.
Yeah,
appropriately full.
So sweet. They seem so well-mannered.
They're good kids.
And so sweet.
It's always fun, as a parent. I mean, when they're with me, I feel like they're tornadoes. And it's like, I feel like they're just all over the place. But anytime I take them somewhere else and I pick them up, they say, man, you have the most well-behaved children. And that warms my heart. That makes me feel good. That makes, and I would rather they would misbehave with me than misbehave with somebody else. So, so that part's okay.
Yeah.
But that's fatherhood's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love it. And it really is. It helps in all of these different areas. I mean, what I've worked on really hard professionally to be a better coach has helped me be a better father, but being a better father has helped me become a better speaker. I mean, these things are all related. As human beings, we can't really compartmentalize all of these things. I mean, it's like character. I mean, you either have it or you don't. It's not like you have high character at work and low character. Not like you either have it or the light switch is either on or it's off.
Yeah.
And I find parenting's been pretty cool for all of that.
And I love the way that you describe yourself. Well, you're amicably divorced.
Yes.
So
I lead with that. I love that. I'm proud of that.
No, I'm like, why isn't there more of this? Like, I didn't grow up in a household like that, unfortunately. And I never married my son's father, but I was married at one point. And we did have a very conscious divorce. We're still best friends. And it's really funny, actually, because it actually makes other people uncomfortable because they're like, oh, well, we're not. And we're like, no, we still love each other. And like,
it does confuse people.
It is confusing for people. It's like, I don't even. But I love hearing that, especially when there's kids involved. I mean, so was that always there, or was there a process that you guys, because I feel like it takes two people have to agree, we're doing this for the kids, and I love you, and we have children, and so do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, be happy to, yeah. And we had our rough patches, and of course, time heals most wounds, but, we both made a conscious decision that our relationship is going to determine how our children see the world in many different ways. I mean, I know I wouldn't put words in her mouth, but for me, my sons will learn from me how to treat a woman by how I treat their mother, and my daughter will learn how a man should treat her by how I treat their mother. And I can't think of anything more important than those things. So,
on that one.
yeah, but people
don't understand that.
No. And I have compassion because when people are hurt through a broken relationship, there's jealousy, there's spite, you have all these toxic emotions, and you don't know where to direct them other than the other person who may have hurt you. So my heart goes out to people that have gone through that. But on some level, you have to rise above it and go, okay, this didn't work out. It hurts, it sucks. However, I've got 3 little ones that are watching everything I do, and I can screw their life up, or I can do what's right. And, there's never a wrong time to do what's right. And thankfully, she had the same approach. And we've actually become better friends since the divorce because we've made that commitment to each other. Yeah. And that part's cool. And
I love that.
Yeah. And I know it'll help the kids when they're older. I mean, there's still confusion now. They don't quite get it. Sometimes they're confused, like, why don't you move back home?
Yeah, because
if
you guys are
such
being
good
friendly.
friends?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
At their age, they don't quite understand that.
They don't have to.
But you always have the choice to take the high road. And many times that's a really hard choice because the easy road will make you feel better temporarily.
Yeah.
I say something to hurt you, or I do something to hurt you because you hurt me. That vindictive mentality will make me feel better for about 3 seconds. And then after that, you end up feeling worse.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and take the high road. And
when there's kids involved, I mean, I always say this, but I became a better human when I became a mother because it wasn't about me.
Yes.
I actually had to think outside of myself, which is what everybody should do, even if they're not a parent, because it's the healthiest way to live.
Absolutely.
But whenever I think about my son, it makes every choice easier.
Yes.
Because then it's a place of love, and it's thinking about him, and there's no vindictive or manipulation. Right. It's just, I can't. Because unfortunately I did experience that a little bit when I was a kid, but I don't, that's all part of it too, because I know what I don't want to do.
Which is just as important.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, which is why we should always keep our eyes and ears open, because life, as you always say, is throwing lessons at us all the time. So we just got to become better students and pay attention. Yes. And you can learn just as much from what you don't want to do, or how you don't want to behave, or who you don't want in a relationship. That'll help you find the person that you do want. And so there's something to be learned from all of it. And we all make mistakes. So we also have to give ourselves some grace and compassion. When you mess up, you mess up. You own it, you learn from it, you don't repeat it, and you move on.
And I think that as a parent, that's so huge too. It's like when you make a mistake, instead of trying to cover it up and, I love telling Cleo, you know what? You're right.
Yes.
I totally messed this one up. And because then there's still that trust. I think it's so important as a parent to do that. And in anything.
Yes.
Well,
even, it was funny, Max and I had this conversation the other day. It was kind of via text. Every once in a while, the kids will start having some behavior that I know they got directly from me that she doesn't necessarily want them to be doing. And thankfully, we're open enough where she can just say, hey, the kids are doing this or saying this. I'd appreciate it if you don't do that, because I can't tell them not to do it if you're going to keep doing it.
Right.
And I have to always just take a breath and go, okay, this is coming from a genuine place. She wants what's best for our children just like I do. So there's no reason to get defensive. There's no reason to take it personal. She has every bit as much of a say in the way we raise our children as I do. So yeah, that's cool. And I can just kind of become a spectator to my own thoughts and emotions and just step out and go, okay, I'm not gonna argue this. This is something that's important to her from her perspective. So yes, I can absolutely not do that anymore, because it's affecting our children. And, that took us a while to be able to get to that place, but it's great. And I've told her, and she said the same thing. I said, if there's ever anything that concerns you about the kids, please reach out to me immediately. I mean, that's what's most important to me. And I know it's most important to her. So that part, I'm just glad we're in that place now.
No, I mean, that's ideal. And is there anything that you could suggest to any of the fathers listening, to be able to, it reminds me of in yoga practice, one of the things is mindfulness and being able to take a pause and instead of reacting, think about what you want out of the conversation or the scenario. So when something like that does happen in your life in any facet, is there a technique that you do, or is there something, so that you can say something without reacting in a negative way.
Well, from a parenting standpoint, you just hit on it a moment ago where you said when Kaleo was born, you realized it wasn't about you, it was about him. And I think that's something all parents go through.
Yeah.
You know, when we're younger, we think the world revolves around us. It's our universe. And then when you have kids, you realize, wait a second, it doesn't. So yeah, I always just remind myself, hey, it ain't about me. It's about them.
Right.
Doesn't matter what I think on this or what I want to do. What's going to be best for the children is the decision that I will make. That is it. Non-negotiable. And
non-negotiable.
that part I think helps a lot.
Yeah.
Just realizing, hey, it's about them. It's about them. And then hopefully, you know, her and I are planting the seeds and giving them the tools that when they grow up, if they choose to have children, that they'll be able to do this for their children. And then we'll start creating a cycle of the behavior that we want to see in the world, as opposed to a lot of the stuff, unfortunately, that we don't.
Yeah, that's huge too.
Which is why, a lot of stuff is rampant in the world. Yeah. But it's, you know, all of the bad stuff in the world right now, and there's plenty of it, it's all learned behavior. I know. None of it is anything anyone's born with. Whether you're talking about being sexist or racist or bullying, none of that stuff comes programmed on us as human beings. It's all learned behavior. And as adults, we have to be responsible for the fact that most of what they're learning is from us. So we just have to be more responsible with what we do, and these things won't be an issue. And as we see in the world, I mean, it takes generations to undo some of these mindsets and toxic behaviors and feelings, but every little bit matters. So, you know, can't change the world, but I can change what's in my yard and do my best with that.
And I think that's huge. That's all anybody can do, is just start where they're at. And I saw you post something this morning that made me think of it, because I think that also goes into coaching. And you said something like treat every person like it's your child.
Yeah, I learned that from a coach when I was really young. He was, at the time he retired, he was the winningest high school basketball coach in history of high school basketball. And he said, he coached at an all-boys Catholic school, so he was coaching only boys, but he said, I treat every kid on my team as if they were my own son or daughter. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. You got to care about the kid first before you even worry about them as a player.
Yeah.
You know, and that translates to anything we do. I mean, your colleagues and your coworkers. You know, if you're the CEO, do you care about your people as human beings first? I mean, obviously, I understand they're there to do a job. You're there to run a business. I get all of that. But when you can care about someone for who they are, not what they do, that it changes everything.
And do you talk about a lot? I mean, I haven't read your book yet.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
so excited that I finally got it today. Do you talk about a lot of this in the book? Like, what is the main?
Yeah, so the book dives into what I believe are the 15 most important
I love that.
Areas of leadership, areas of being a great teammate. And I want to make sure that the folks realize, I mean, even with my own children, if they play sports now because they're young. I mean, if they choose not to play sports when they're older, this stuff will still apply to anything that they want to do. If they want to go into art or to music or to graphic design or to theater, or if they don't want to do any of that, if they want to be an entrepreneur, anything, these same principles apply. You know, chapter 1 is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the house at which everything else is built. And you can't be a good mother, a good yoga instructor, a good lawyer, a good basketball player if you don't have self-awareness. It's key. So that's a skill set that everyone should be working on, regardless of what they do.
So I've had some interesting scenarios lately with self-awareness, and I'm like, adults, and I'm like, this is amazing to me that, you know, and I'm trying not to come from a place of judgment, but I was literally amazed recently. Somebody sat right in front of me, and I was like, do I have an invisible jacket on today? Like, and sat there, and I missed my note to like kind of say something. Then I was like, you know what? This is kind of an experiment. I want to see. And she never realized.
Never even figured it out.
She never realized. So I kind of just sat up a little bit taller, and I was like, it was an interesting scenario though, because I think you're right. Self-awareness is huge.
I make the compare. It's like driving. I mean, no one admits that they're a bad driver, but there's plenty of bad drivers out there. I've never met anyone that says, I'm not self-aware, I have no clue what's going on. But clearly there's plenty of people that don't.
Yeah.
And I find, I mean, self-awareness is fascinating. I think it's multifaceted. One, most people embrace the good stuff. Like, they know what they love, they know what they're passionate about, they know their dreams, but they shy away from the harder stuff, the darker stuff. What are your fears? What are your insecurities?
And you have some little tests I saw in here.
Absolutely.
I love that. So little exercises they could figure out.
To try, yeah, to try and reflect. Because funny enough, is counterintuitive as it sounds, one of the ways to heighten self-awareness is to ask the people that know you the best. Because we can't see our own blind spots. So we'll go back to listening because we've already referenced it. I might think I'm a really good listener, but if you ask the 5 people that know me the best and they say, no, Alan's an awful listener, then there's,
like,
then it's disconnected. Then,
Yeah.
then the way that I view myself is different than the way the rest of the world views me, and they're not in alignment. That means there's low awareness there. In fact, I would have higher self-awareness if I said, I'm an awful listener, and my 5 people said, yeah, he's an awful listener. Hey, at least
Right.
I'd have awareness.
Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't be proud of that, but at least I would have high awareness. And, and then another level is being able to manage and control our own emotions, but being able to do that within the confines of everyone that we work with and everyone that's in our world. So, most people can say, okay, I'm angry right now. They understand that they're angry. But to have more heightened self-awareness, can you figure out exactly why you're angry? Because it's very rarely the thing that you get angry about. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you give them the finger or honk your horn, there's a lot more to it than someone that just cuts you off. There's something else that's really eating at you that's the display. But if you think it's just because someone cut you off, then you're probably lacking a little bit of self-awareness.
Right.
But then the next step is being able to say, you know what, I'm angry right now, and that's okay. I'm allowed to be angry, but I need to figure out what's a healthy way to express this anger or to use this anger. Because that's the other part. I mean, one of the reasons a lot of catastrophic stuff happens in our world is because people don't know how to manage their emotions. They're angry, they feel hurt, they feel bullied, they feel all this stuff, and the only thing they can think to do is hurt somebody else because they can't manage that feeling. There's nothing wrong with being angry.
Right.
That's a human emotion that all of us have. So even now, when I find myself, if I'm angry or disappointed or irritated, I don't run from it. I just say, okay, this is how I'm feeling at the moment. This is going to pass at some point. But then I try to make sure that I act responsibly with that. So, if I'm feeling really irritable and frustrated, I know that I'm more likely to snap at my children, not for anything that they do, because that's on me. So I try to rearrange things so that that's less likely to happen. And I also believe that self-awareness is not something that you ever arrive at. It's something we have to do every day. It's like saying, hey, I'm physically fit, but I'm never going to work out again or never do anything again, but I'm physically fit. Well, guess what? In 3 months, you won't be. You have to keep doing it if you want to stay that way. And same thing with self-awareness. If you're pretty aware now, well, you got to do a little bit more tomorrow and a little bit more tomorrow. Yeah. And we all kind of go up and down with different, highs and lows of self-awareness.
And I think that pertains to everything. I love that because I think that you're right. I think with the spiritual work or the self-work, people think that, oh, I did this, now I'm good. Yeah. It's like, no, it's going to give you a test tomorrow, and it's going to give you another test tomorrow, and it's going to give you all these tests to actually utilize and practice those things that you just learned.
Absolutely.
And it's going to constantly come up. But getting back to what you were saying about this anger and it's everything, while you were saying that, I was like, it's so interesting to me. I think, and I feel like social media has actually been a huge reason why this shift has happened. But with men, there's been this huge shift with men lately, where it's okay to be soft and it's okay to, like you said, like it's okay to be angry. And I think people are just kind of, I don't know. I feel like there used to be this, and I'm assuming probably when you played sports when you were younger, it was like a tough, like, you got to be this way. Yes. And it was like this certain archetype and you had to be like this. And yes. Now I feel like we're all kind of trying to be more equal in all areas, know?
And especially embracing emotional intelligence and things like that. I mean, to me, that's one of the most important things that I can teach my 2 sons in particular. I mean, my daughter for sure, but my sons, like, it's okay to cry.
Right.
It's okay to feel these things. And I don't believe in that old archaic mindset, especially, I mean, it was rampant in the sports world and still is.
Yeah.
And that's where we realize, I mean, how important language is. Like, even I've heard fathers say something to their sons to the effect of, stop crying and acting like a girl. Like, how destructive is that?
The other day,
these are fathers that have daughters, and they still say that. It's like, wait a second, you're associating crying with being female. That's not good. I mean, and I think true strength is in vulnerability. The more vulnerable you allow yourself to be and be open to all of these different emotions, I believe that makes you stronger, not weaker. But that's what we're trying to change, that landscape. Because 30 years ago, if you were vulnerable, then you were a wuss, or you were acting like a girl.
It's just something you didn't do.
No.
I mean, my dad was stoic all the time.
Yes.
I saw him cry once.
Right.
It's like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And he was an amazing human being. That's just that generation didn't share their
Absolutely.
emotions in that kind of way. But I think it comes out in other ways if you don't. So I think it's so healthy to have tools to be self-aware and figure out where your downfalls are.
For sure.
Work on them and
we all
your
have
triggers. Everybody has triggers. Everybody has, that's the thing I feel like, and that's why I always say about being a better student. Like, we're never going to get to a place where we've learned everything.
No.
And it's a constant practice every single day. And I think it gets easier if we continue to practice these things, these mindfulness techniques and stuff like that. It definitely makes life easier.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to learn. I mean, that's even a skill. Like, just being open to knowing that the world is going to give you so many different opportunities to learn something. And it was kind of like we were talking before. You can learn something from every situation. You can learn more of what to do. You can learn what not to do. Mm-hmm. Same thing with feedback. Any feedback that we get in this world, you have a choice on what you do with that feedback. And high performers and really happy people always choose to use feedback in a way that moves them forward. So if someone gives you praise and gives you good feedback, then you think to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to do more of that because it was working. And this is not about pandering for people's affection or attention. It's if you get solid feedback, say even on a work performance, then you realize, okay, what you did to prepare for that actually worked, so do more of that. Well, if they give you, say, more constructive feedback and point out some of the ways where you fell short, well, then you can learn from that. So either way, every time, no matter what the world throws at you, you have a chance to take a step forward if you use it correctly. Problem is, a lot of people don't. So when people give them praise, instead of using it to serve them, they actually use it to cripple them because they either get complacent or they get arrogant. And they think, okay, well then I've arrived. And if they get negative feedback, instead of using it to learn a lesson, they let it erode their confidence and rattle their cage. And then they think, okay, well maybe I'm not meant to do this. So any feedback that you get, you find a way to make sure that you use it to move forward.
I mean, that's easy to say, but what can,
Very easy to say.
Is there anything you could share with the audience that you think could help if somebody is giving constructive criticism?
And I know that everything I'm saying to you right now, I'm saying in a very matter-of-fact tone. And I'm making all of this stuff sound easy. None of this stuff is easy. Not a single thing I've said to you since this conversation started is easy. If it was easy, we'd all already be doing it. The world would be perfect because everyone would be putting their shopping carts back and everyone would be letting their sons cry. But this stuff is not easy to do. That's why we don't do it. But we have to take the road less traveled and put that effort in. For me, when it comes to feedback, the very first thing, I'm human, I'm not a robot, so I don't want to hear negative feedback any more than the next person, but I'm going to get it. And as a professional speaker, I get it formally. People will fill out written evaluations of my talk. And but what I have to do is there's a few things. One, the first thing I do is I depersonalize it. And I think, all right, these people don't know me personally. So this is not an attack on me as a human. This is their thoughts on my performance, which they have every right to give their opinion on. So as soon as I depersonalize it, that helps take a lot of the sting out of it.
So the 4 agreements, like don't take it personally.
Exactly, yes, which is a brilliant book. And then you also have to realize from a feedback standpoint, as we mentioned, when someone cuts you off in traffic and you give them the finger and you honk the horn, there's a lot of depth to that. That's not what there's a lot more to it than that. Well, same thing. If you come see me speak tomorrow and you give me some scathing feedback, I have to take a moment and go, okay, how much of that is from my performance and how much of that is from the baggage that you brought there? I mean, if your dog died the night before, your kid was up sick, you didn't get any sleep, you had to skip breakfast, you got a traffic ticket on the way there, and then you come watch me speak, you're probably not going to be in the frame of mind that's feeling positive. So I have to understand that. So you're never as good or as bad as other people think in that immediate moment. And then the other part when it comes to feedback is you have to ask, is the person giving it actually valid? And everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Right.
But if someone's going to, we'll just keep using speaking as an example, tell me some technical things to work on my craft, but they're not a professional speaker. They're not a professional speaking coach. They've never had any formal training. They're just a human being that has their 2 cents on what I need to do to be a better speaker. I just have to be able to take that. I'll still be open to it.
Some hate.
Yeah, or could be, but they may not know what to do. Any more than, I mean, you're an expert ballerina. I know nothing about that. If I came in and started trying to correct your form and your movements and your, like, how could I possibly do that? I'm not trained to be able to do that. And I could offer my opinion. I could say, hey, that pose is better than that one.
I would love that. That would,
yeah, that would be something else.
We should do a
yeah.
basketball ballet situation.
I'm in. I'd probably look good in the tutu. I won't lie. Let's do it.
That's funny.
So feedback, it's an interesting one. So we just, the key is trying to not take things personal.
I think it goes back though too to the person that's giving it is giving the way that they deliver it, because I'm trying to put myself in a position where I know you and I've heard you speak. I don't know that I would ever say anything negative anyways, but let's just say I was like, oh, why didn't you fucked up on that story or something? I don't know, but my delivery, it would be, you would listen to it because of
Absolutely.
my delivery.
Yes.
You know, so I think that that's also so important.
But you have high emotional intelligence, so you'd know a way to be able to share something constructive because you believe that it would make me better, and you would deliver it in a way that I would be open to receiving it.
Yeah.
That's a good portion of what emotional intelligence is all about.
Life.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even more so now, because the first time you saw me speak, we had just met. So we hadn't built any type of currency between us. We were basically just meeting for the first time. Now we've known each other for a couple years and we've built a friendship. So now I'm even more open to receiving what you'd have to say because I know it comes from a genuine place. So that's the other thing that you have to think about is, and I take that when, I go speak. These people have known me for less than an hour when they're going to fill out their form. Like there's no context to it, which is different than someone that you've known for a longer time so all of these things are just moving parts, but we should all be open to feedback because it shouldn't be beneath any of us, and we just have to be taken.
A student,
yes.
Right?
I love that mantra that you have. I mean, that's all we are. We're just students.
Always a student.
That's what we are. It certainly doesn't stop when school stops.
Yeah.
That's when
Not
it starts,
taking
really.
it personal is like, that really sticks with me. I think that's huge to take in everything.
And I would imagine, when you deal with folks that have achieved high levels of fame, even today on the heels of the Super Bowl, you have people commenting on the player's performance in the game last night. People that they've never met. Some people have never even put on never put a helmet on, and they can critique these certain players. But I would imagine that, and will you say Tom Brady as an example? He's probably gotten to a point where he's insulated himself from a good portion of that chatter, and it doesn't bother him anymore because he can say, you know what, let people tweet what they want. It doesn't affect me. I know what I've put in the work to deserve to be successful, and that's cool. Now, if Bill Belichick calls him and says, hey, I've got some constructive feedback for you on how you could get better, he's going to listen because there's a history there, there's an expertise there. So I would imagine, but I'm guessing, because I'm not famous, that would probably be the hardest part about attaining fame, is that going from letting that stuff bother you and eat you alive, where you're reading every comment that someone posts, to the point where you don't worry about it anymore. But it's a journey that they all need to take.
But I think even if you're not famous, I think that that's a valid point to make in this day and age, is just to not take it personal.
Yes.
And if you're living in your truth and you're living from your heart and you're coming from a good place, then if other people are saying something negative or being negative, that is, we don't know where that's coming from. You just send them love.
And we don't control it.
And you can't.
You got to focus on what you can control. And that's what we say when we want folks to be good teammates or to be leaders. You confront behavior, you don't confront personalities. So if I'm holding you accountable to the fact you were late to today's staff meeting, it has nothing to do with whether I like you. It has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with that. You shouldn't take that personal. What I'm confronting is the behavior that you were 3 minutes late to our staff meeting, and we have a standard at our company that we're not late to company events, and you violated that standard. So I'm going to hold you accountable. Yeah. So not only is that my obligation as your teammate to do it, you should know that it's coming. There should be nothing surprising about that. And it shouldn't be, you take that personal. Why is Alan always getting on me? Well, because you're always late. Yeah. It has nothing to do with whether I like you or not. It has to do with your behavior. And when we can take the personalization out of it and focus strictly on behavior, then again, that's what elite teams do. Yeah. They don't take that stuff personal. They can confront each other with the truth. And that's how you get better. Yes. Yeah. But once again, that is so not easy to do.
It's so hard.
Oh, so hard to do.
I just read this quote. It said, because what you were just saying reminded me of, like, it's so easy to go into the victim mode. Mm-hmm. But the quote said, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Say, what can I learn from this?
I love that.
And it's like, Like that's in every situation. Like,
And see, that'd be a perfect trigger or mantra to say to yourself.
yeah, that's a good mantra.
Because people say all the time, why me? Why me?
Yeah.
Why not you?
Exactly.
Like, why not you?
Yeah,
What makes you
turn that
special? Yeah,
around.
absolutely.
Yeah, I got
No,
that.
I love that.
Yeah.
What can I learn from
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
That's one we can all use.
I want to go back to your speech. The first time I heard your speech, it's been 2.5 years now.
I've gotten a lot better.
It's been a minute.
I've gotten a lot better, let me tell you.
You were good. Well, and that was no joke.
That was raw. That was raw, though. I'm telling you, that was one of the first talks I ever gave. That was new. And now that I've been able to, and I appreciate you saying that sincerely, but I've taken a lot of feedback and I've worked on my craft because it's something that I take very serious. But yeah, it's neat looking back on that.
Well, that was being thrown into the fire because those were not just like normal.
No, those were some high achievers.
Some high achievers.
Yes.
And it's like, let's throw Alan into the fire and see what happens. And you did amazing, obviously.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But there was a couple other stories, and I don't remember. I just remember it stuck out. I don't know why you told this story about the first marathon you ever did.
I don't know that I've told it too many times since. I've got to find a better way to deliver it so it's non-offensive to corporate folks. I remember that. Yeah. That was such a roller coaster of a talk because I remember we laughed, we cried, we did a little bit of all of the above.
Well, and then you did the change thing. Do you want to share that? What was you had the change in your pocket?
Oh yeah, the 10 assists. Yeah, and this is one I use with all teams, and we've graduated from not just putting pennies in your pocket. You can put rubber bands or bracelets on your wrist if someone wants to be a little more fashion conscious. But
'cause nobody has change.
Yes,
anymore.
no, who walks around with 10 pennies? And I know a lot of female clothing doesn't even have pockets.
You should actually get some bracelets made.
Let's do it. Some golden secret bracelets. There we go. Let's do it up. But the whole concept was either put 10 rubber bands on your left wrist or 10 pennies in your left pocket. And every time you give someone an assist, and in the business world, let's say it's either one of your coworkers and colleagues or it's one of your clients and customers. So it's either someone on your team or someone that you serve. And every time you do something above and beyond to add value to their life, we'll call that an assist. Just like in basketball or hockey or soccer, you pass the ball, you share the sugar. And every time you give an assist, take one bracelet off the left and put it on your right. And then the key is you can't leave the office until you've done 10 assists. And so you know for a fact that you've done 10 extra things to serve either someone on your team or a client or customer. And a lot of people already do that. I mean, there's a lot of servant leaders out there, but I just like it because it brings it into our consciousness and we have an awareness of, man, I've only given 3 assists today and I'm slacking today. What can I do to add value to people's lives? And really that's what we should be encouraging, all of us, is how do we fill other people's buckets? How do we recharge other people and make their life easier or make their life better? And that's just a great way to formalize it. And you take a typical basketball team, you've got 15 players and say 5 coaches, that's 20 people, that's 200 assists a day if you're conscious about it. I mean, and that's big time. We're in with social media, we're always worried about number of likes, number of views, retweets, all of this stuff. Make that go viral. Make that go viral in your company where everyone is concerned with their colleagues and coworkers to the point they're going to do 10 extra things a day to serve them. You're telling me your culture won't improve? And when your culture improves, your bottom line will improve. And it's back to the basics. We're talking about how do you improve your business? That's about as basic of a way that you could improve any business immediately. And it's just on the concept of filling other people's buckets.
I think that's a great tool too for Cleo and kids. That's that's such a cool way to visualize and have them constantly be a little reminder. Yeah.
And so there's four things I say to my kids after every single practice or game or anything. And it doesn't matter if it's piano lessons or if it's basketball. And of course, you'd have to change the language a little bit depending on which one. But my kids are all playing basketball at present. So the first thing I ask them is, were you coachable? And the reason I'm sharing this is because this applies to business as well. Were you coachable? Did you have the humility to take instruction from someone that knows more than you do? When you're 8 years old and your coach is an adult, they know more than you do. So be open to the coaching. Number 2, were you a good teammate? Did you worry just about yourself, or did you worry about the person to your right and to your left? Did you do something? And with my kids, it's, did you make someone smile at practice? You use the language
Creating
that's
that
appropriate.
self-awareness, though, at such a young age is
right.
profound.
But I want them to know how important that is. That's one of that's one of the most important parts about a team sport is you're not there for you. You're there to help other people. So were you coachable? Were you a great teammate? Number 3, did you give the best effort that you were capable of? Like, did you do the best that you were capable of? I didn't ask if you were the best, because you don't control that. You might be the worst player on the team, but you did the best that you could do. That's all that matters. And then last, did you have fun? At the end of the day, if you're not having fun, then why are we doing this? Then let's not do it. So, and whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about basketball, anything else, and it doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult, if you are coachable, if you care about the person next to you as your teammate, you work as hard as you can in everything that you do, and you have fun while you're doing it, good things are going to happen. I mean, I can't promise you a pay raise. I can't promise you, you're going to win the vacation, but I can promise you, you'll be happier, you'll be more fulfilled, and you'll be more successful at what you do. And how basic are those 4 questions?
But you're so right, though, that a lot of people are missing those. And sometimes we just need a nice little reminder. And
yes.
And literally to have it in a book where we could go, oh yeah, because we are busy and we're doing so many things, and it's like, oh yeah. Just smiling while you're driving at the people on either side of you. Like, maybe you're not on the court, maybe you're not in business, but literally just, it shifts an entire energy.
Absolutely.
It could change your day. It could make that person's life. You don't know what that person's going through. And I think that that's what's so amazing about, all of that and all of these little principles that you've talked about today is just from the moment you wake up, having that self-awareness and doing those little things that make a huge change overall.
Little things over time make huge differences. Yeah. And that's what I would hope, anybody watching this realizes, if you find some areas in your life that you wish were better, that you could improve, you don't have to be perfect at them by next Tuesday.
Right.
Like, just start making little changes. Every little bit matters, and it's the cumulative effect that matters. And there's going to be times where you fall off. There's going to be times where you had a streak of whatever it is, going to the gym or eating well, and then you fall off. It's okay.
Yeah.
You've got another day tomorrow. So just start anew and give yourself the grace and compassion that you would give a loved one. That's a lot of people's problems. They're their own biggest critic, and they beat themselves up. Yeah. They'd quickly put a pat on your back if you messed up, but they beat themselves up, and you just can't do that. You got to move to that next play. I mean, every day is a new opportunity to start anew and to start fresh and to create these habits.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, kind of the basis of my whole company, but self-love and having that same love for yourself and that inner criticism that we might not necessarily verbalize, but we're having internally. Yes. So other people, I might be doing it right now. We're like, Jesse, you're messing up the whole show, inside. But literally having that awareness that I'm having these thoughts and switching it and then giving myself the love, like you said, like you would a friend or a family member. And over time, creating new little pathways of positivity and shifting everything.
And that's why every little bit matters. Every smile matters.
Every smile matters. I love that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, I ask all my guests, and you've already shared so many golden secrets, but what is your golden secret right now that you want to share?
Golden secret. The bookends to our day are incredibly important to everything that we do. And the bookends are going to be the first 60 minutes when you wake up and the last 60 minutes before you go to bed. We don't have a tremendous amount of control between what goes on in between those things. But even if you're a parent, you've got so many things going on, you have a little bit more control over your morning routine and your evening routine. And I would highly recommend that people design those with intention. Figure out how you need to start your day so that you'll be in the right frame of mind. So you'll feel like smiling when you're driving to work. So you won't feel rushed. And I'm constantly tweaking, especially my morning routine, because it sets the foundation for the rest of the day. And
you travel a lot. So
I do. So and I try to keep those things consistent. I mean, I can be as specific as you want. I mean, I own the first 30 minutes of every single day. It doesn't matter if I'm here in LA or if I'm back home. It doesn't matter if I'm in my apartment or if I'm in a hotel room. I own the very first 30 minutes of my day. I am one of those people that makes my bed. That's the very first thing I do every single morning, just because I like to start my day with a very small win and a little bit of discipline.
Yeah.
So I make my bed. I have some breath work that I do, which just kind of pulls me in, and it's more for mindfulness. I mean,
You
there's
always say be where your
feet are, and that helps me do that. Then I go through some, I'll just call them yoga poses. I mean, my yoga and your yoga aren't the same thing.
We got to go live
yes.
one morning, Alan.
Oh boy. But that's, yeah. So I do some breathing, I do some yoga, then I follow the Headspace guided meditation app.
Nice.
And I love that. That's 10 minutes of meditation. And then recently what I've added is...
Which has been, how long have you been meditating
Oh,
now?
this morning was 565 days in a row. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
And then I take a quick cold shower,
Nice.
which I don't enjoy, but it's invigorating, and it's a nice pattern interrupt. It gets me going. And from start to finish, from the moment my eyes open to the moment I dry myself off from the cold shower is about 30 minutes. And the more consistent I can be with that, the more consistent I know my mindset's gonna be, and then I move on to everything else. And sometimes I go right to a workout, sometimes I go in my office, sometimes I have to catch but whatever, I control that first 30 minutes, and that consistency is vital. So when I step out of that cold shower, it's like, all right, let's go. We're gonna make the most out of today. And
I agree. I actually just shifted my schedule. We were kind of talking about this before the show started, but I think January is such a nice time of year to like reassess what do I need to do. And I kind of had lost that morning routine. I was diving right into work. And so I promised myself, I'm on the celery bandwagon. So I do celery juice when I wake up.
Nice.
And then actually I practice yoga and then I do celery juice. So it's about 40 minutes before I even get to work.
Beautiful.
And it's like, what's so interesting to me is what I always try and share with people is spending that time for yourself. You think, I don't have that time, I don't have that time.
Yes.
When I do that consistently, I'm much more productive, I'm much more clear the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
And I get way more done.
And you can take
I
on
feel
whatever
good.
the world throws at you.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you have a whole bunch of rugrats running around your house and you work 2 jobs, I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to be easy,
Right.
but the reason I like the bookends, things are always going to get in your way during the day. If you say, you know what, I'll do my yoga at 10 a.m., something's going to come up.
Yeah.
It's going to derail it. Not every day,
love
but some
that.
days.
Yeah.
If you do it very first thing in the morning, and that's the thing. Well, you know, then just get up a little bit earlier if you feel like. And I know that's so much easier said than done. You know, especially if you have infants at home, you're up all night. I mean, we've already said this several times, sounding like a broken record. None of this is easy. And your morning routine doesn't have to be 30 or 40 minutes.
Right.
Maybe it's 10. Maybe you do 3 minutes of something that's mindful and a couple of yoga stretches, and then you drink your coffee in your own. Just do something.
I agree.
I'm under the impression that a lot of people, the alarm goes off and they hit snooze a few times. Then they begrudgingly get out of bed, and the first thing they do is check their phone. And now you're being bombarded
you're
by
gone.
emails
You're done.
and social media that's affecting your mindset. And you're letting other people control your mood, and then you're screaming at your kids, trying to get your kids ready, and you're putting your makeup on in the car while you're rushing, you're late to work, and I mean, no wonder you're not in a positive frame of mind by the time you get to work. Look what you just went through.
Yeah.
And things are still going to happen. But for me, when I control that first 30 minutes, like I said, when I get out of that cold shower, I'm ready for anything the day throws at me. And it's going to throw some stuff at me, but I'm so much better prepared then.
I like though like you said, non-negotiable earlier, not pertaining to this, but it sounds like
this is a non-negotiable.
It's
for me now.
non-negotiable. I think people need to create that time, even if you do have kids. Like there is a way, like either get up before they wake up, or there are ways to do it, and allow that time for yourself. And I love the way that you put it, the bookends in the morning and in the evening. So how do you wrap up the night? Like what for you is?
It really depends. Sometimes I'll end with some reading. I enjoy Netflix. Like sometimes I watch documentaries, sometimes I watch stand-up comedy. For me, it's.
But this is so. I love it because I thought you were going to say like I journal. And
no, I don't. It's a time for me just to decompress, and it's a release. Yeah.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, by myself. Yes, how great is that? But it's a way for me just to kind of unwind, and a lot of the things I mean, we were talking about Bosch before.
Yeah.
When I watch these different shows, it's not just for the content, which I certainly enjoy as any other viewer, but I'm also fascinated by the writing and by the acting and everything that goes into putting this thing on. So, even when I'm watching what some would say is a mindless show, I'm actually learning something from it, and I just enjoy that. So yeah, many times that's how I choose to end my day, and I'm okay with that. Yes.
Yeah.
And just to kind of zone out, and then then I'm off and running. And that's the thing too. If we have to realize that it's kind of like a tug of war on a rope, that if getting up super early is really hard for you, then you're probably not going to bed early enough, that you're still tired early in the morning. So you just have to ask yourself, what is most important to you? And I don't know that anything can be more important than our own happiness and fulfillment and success. And if I can directly link my morning routine to those three things, what could be more important than that? It's not till staying up till 2 a.m. doing, playing video games. It's, I'm going to go to bed at a reasonable hour so that I can wake up and start my day the way that I want. And, but with full transparency, developing this morning routine, I mean, it was not easy to do. There are still days where it's harder to do than others. There's still, there were times when I was first starting some of these things, especially the cold showers, where, I mean, it was easy to fall off and it wasn't enjoyable whatsoever. But
and you're in DC, so it's really cold.
When I wake up in the mornings now, it is dark and it is cold, and that cold shower is miserable.
Yeah.
But when I get out of it, and I'm not in there for 25 minutes, I mean, it's like a 3-minute shower, if that. But when I get out, there's a renewed sense of confidence. It's like I just did something that I really didn't want to do. Awesome. Because I know today's going to throw at me some things that I don't want to do, and I'm going to be so much better prepared to handle them now. And that's the mindset that we need.
I love it. The bookends.
Yes, the bookends of the day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to encourage everybody to get your book. You could get it on Amazon.
You sure can.
It's Kindle, Audible.
Yes.
All the goods.
Yeah, if they're entranced by the sexy voice I have, I did the reading for the book. Yeah.
Wait, how hard is that, by the way?
It was so hard.
It was so hard.
It was 20 hours in the
You guys,
studio.
this is what I want you to do when you get Alan's book. Read it out loud to yourself and see how long you last before you mess
record
up.
it. And have a director standing over you saying you have to say that slower, or you didn't say that word right.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I not say it right? I wrote it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was challenging. But it was a fun process, and I enjoyed it. And so it's
This
cool.
has been such a joy to see you, and I remember when you got the book deal, and now it's book and it's available everywhere. And I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being
Awesome.
here today.
So nice to reconnect.
Yay.